All right, hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Sunzel, and today I'm interviewing Falcon, who's one of the upcoming captains in the January Jumpstart 3v3 Halo 1 tournament hosted by Fizzy and sponsored by D. Lockhart, who is giving the $1,000 prize pool to us. How are you doing today, Falcon?
Doing all right, Sunzel.
You want to give me a little introduction for everyone about yourself? Maybe that some people who are going to tune into the tournament who don't know who you are, or people who have seen you play and they just want to know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so I'm Falcon, been playing Halo since I want to say like summer 2002. Played Halo 1 quite a lot. I was mainly like a XBC guy at the time, which for those that don't know, that was like a backdoor way of playing the game online. Because it was originally only designed for LAN play, so that was a way to kind of play it online because it didn't have Xbox Live support till Halo 2. Played Halo 2 competitively for like about a year and a half after it came out. Then I kind of got tired of Halo for a while, started moving on to other games, kind of got knee deep into the Xbox achievement thing for a while. Kind of got back into Halo like early 2019.
All right, and so after all this time, you'd been initially playing Halo 1, then a little bit of Halo 2, and you got out. What's kept you around Halo to playing Halo 1 for these last few years over any other
Well,
Halo?
well, I got back into Halo 1. So like everybody else, I bought MCC when it came out in 2014 and it was dog shit. Kind of just got the achievements in the game and moved on from it. Came back to it years later when they did some updates to it, and yeah, I just kind of jumped into the 2v2 playlist and was just playing Halo 1 2's, kind of like how I did on XBC years ago. And I don't know, it just kind of stuck with me. I always really enjoyed doing that from a long time ago, and kind of got in with, some people and some other streamers. This was around the time when like Fiddy was streaming a lot more frequently, and so I was like watching his streams and learning from him how to play better, and kind of just stuck with it. As far as like Halo 1 specifically, I just like that more than the other Halos because you could just do a lot more as an individual than the other games. Like you could just take over a game really at any given moment. So it, like individual skill is just rewarded. But even at the higher level, like there's still team play in it. So like you still have to work as a team, but your individual skill is a lot more rewarded than it is in the later games. So that's really the main reason why always I was always interested in Halo 1 versus the others.
Yeah, I think that's a big reason why I sort of got into it compared to the other Halos, because I initially didn't really grow up playing Halo that much, was more of a PC kid, and just watching old Halo tournaments and seeing that that one player could really take over the game. It wasn't so much BR team shot frenzy to take down people. You could really start handling a lot of fights 2v or 3v1 in Halo 1 just due to the sandbox that was available to you.
Right,
Uh,
right, yeah, you can only do so much by yourself in the later games.
yeah. So, in terms of events that you've played or in tournaments, what's been your favorite that either you've attended or competed in?
Back when this game was in its heyday, I was kind of too young really to go to events. I got into this game when I was 11 years old, so by the time like Halo 2 would come out, I was only 13 at the time. So I didn't really get to go to any events. Like I just went to a few local lands. So really the only tournaments I've played in have just been these online MCC tournaments, which have been pretty fun. I'd say probably out of those, that was my favorite. It was probably the April Puckett Rockets tournament from last year. It was probably the one I enjoyed the most.
Who'd you team with in that one? I don't remember. I didn't compete in that one, and I don't believe I got to see much of it. I think I was away that weekend.
Right. Yeah, that was a 3v3 draft tournament, and I ended up teaming with FCA Nick and Solid Bob.
But you've normally teamed with Nick in the past for other tournaments. I know we've played you guys in a 3v3 before, and I've also teamed with Solid Bob before. So, in terms of the actual upcoming draft, you were one of the captains chosen, and currently you have the fourth and the 13th pick, which is pretty nice for you. You know, you get to get a little bit of time on the board once the draft process starts. So you get to kind of see who other people are looking at picking. When it comes to your pick, as we're looking at the current people that are signed up as of right now, are you looking at the best player available to pick? Or are you looking at someone that you've either played with before that you know fits your style and will be a little bit more comfortable playing with you?
That's a little bit of both. I think more so for the first pick. I definitely would prefer to get someone that's a much more stronger player. Probably by the time we get down to my second pick, they're probably, all things equal, I would prefer a teammate that's going to be a little more communicative and is going to listen to direction. I like those are really the main things that I'm going to be seeking out as far as the second teammate goes. That way we can just coordinate as a cohesive unit a little better.
It's always a good point to add in. So you're definitely looking more for a main slayer primarily for that first pick, and then the second pick, if any people who are still in that sort of tier being able to slay out, or if not, you're just going to want someone that possibly anchors more and can listen to directions from you and the other teammate.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm looking for because I'm pretty sure just looking at the list right now and knowing who's not going to participate, knowing who could sign up still, I don't think I'm going to be getting probably like a real hard Slayer as my second pick. So I'm really just looking for someone that can fill the roles they need to fill and then just be able to take direction on the fly.
All right. Just a few more questions and we'll wrap it up here. Who's your favorite player to play twos with right now in the Halo, or who you've ever played twos with in the Halo 1 community?
Probably right now I'd say it's Vinthex. Like me and him just gel really well together. Yeah, he's kind of just this quiet, angry Terminator. I just usually try to feed him the information he needs and do all the other shit that needs to be done so that he plays as good as he can, and I kind of just take care of what's left.
Pretty accurate statement. Even when I've played twos with Vinthex, I feel like he doesn't need to call out too much. You just tell him where they are and he goes and well, he
Right. And
kills.
and I don't need to be fed too much info as far as like call outs. I usually could just look at where my partner is and what he's doing and know what to do off of that. We
Yeah.
kind of just kind of talk when we need to.
With the other seven captains that are, as of right now, committed to the draft, which captain do you think is actually going to end up bungling their picks and messing up the most in the draft?
Pity, 100%.
Why Fitty?
Well, historically, his draft tourney picks haven't had the greatest results. I don't think there's going to be too much difference this go around.
Okay. You don't think he's going to be looking at something like Profleet's Pyramid or what other people are trying to, do these rankings on who people should maybe be drafting, or do you think he's just going to play with someone that he's comfortable with, or maybe a name he's heard?
Yeah, I think if he's able to, he's definitely going to pick someone he's familiar with. If that's not an option, he's probably just going to fire from the hip and hope for
Okay.
the best.
Well, at least Fitty's one of the best players in the game, so hopefully he can carry his team pretty well in the tournament. Just a couple more questions here. Out of back in what was it, October? You passed a million gamer score, as you talked about earlier. You're achievement hunting a lot over the past decade.
Yep, that is correct.
What's been your favorite game that you've gone achievement hunting in or completed 100% since you've played quite a few games to get to that gamer score?
I've actually 100%ed nearly every single game on my account. That's kind of been my shtick since I started with it. I just complete every game. Probably my favorite game that I played during all of that that sticks out the most would be Witcher 3. That game was just incredible. Probably one of the best games I played of the last decade. And it was just a very very enjoyable game from front to end.
All right. And then which was the hardest or most frustrating game for you to 100%? Anything that was just mind-numbingly difficult that you're wondering why am I trying to get every single achievement in this game?
Yeah, so there's kind of two answers to that question. As far as like the achievement community, like what's considered a hard completion, we usually separate that into what's hard skill wise and what's hard from like a time consumption, effort metric. As far as what was hard skill wise, there's this party game called Hail to the Chimp that probably nobody has ever heard of. It's kind of like a really, really, really bad knockoff Mario Party game, and you basically have to get through the entire set of mini games with all these different characters, and you got to do it perfectly. There's two specific achievements where you have to get through the first round of it flawlessly. Then there's like a second round where they remix a little bit and they're harder, and you got to do all that perfectly. And the AI cheats. It will just punish you so hard. You have to play almost perfectly. The game is very broken. It's just terrible all around. That was probably the hardest game I had to complete. At the time I did it, I was the third person to do it, and still to this day, only 5 people have completed that game 100%. As far as length goes, definitely the worst one was it was the very first Ghost Recon game released for the 360 called Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. There's 3 achievements in that game for being number one on 3 separate leaderboards. And people, from the moment the game came out, people would just boost their accounts up on those boards, just like letting their Xboxes run and autoplay, other accounts and just boost themselves up. They ended up doing like a leaderboard reset about 4 years after the game came out, and that's when me and a bunch of other people jumped in on it because we figured, okay, this if we're gonna get these, this is the time to do it. It took me 6 weeks of having 3 Xboxes running 24/7, and I had to just cycle accounts from one Xbox to another, matching certain ones because you got to get certain ones to a certain rank and make a ladder off of that and all this crazy complicated shit. So I was just like managing a spreadsheet of accounts, like, okay, this one's this rank, this one's that rank. I need to match those against these guys next, and just cycling them around. And yeah, 6 weeks straight of that to get all those done.
Was that one even worth it to you?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it was pretty cool because hardly anyone's ever completed that game. So,
Mhm.
it's kind of like a holy grail completion that a lot of people admire. So, I mean, it was a pretty cool accomplishment, but realistic terms, you know,
Just a
not
time
really.
commitment. Yeah,
Really,
never
It
put
was
a.
it was a massive time commitment. I mean, thankfully I didn't have to like actively play for the majority of those matches because there's a way you can set it up so they automatically finish. It's a little slower than manual play, but at least you don't have to be there. So like you could do it in your sleep, but you have to swap the accounts like every 3 hours or so. So for like 6 weeks, I would wake up like in the middle of the night, go swap the accounts, go back to sleep, wake up in the morning, swap the accounts, go to school at the time, come back, swap the accounts, manage the spreadsheet more. It was a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely awful to have to go through the entire time. But
Yep.
and it
Yeah,
seems like
we had a little crew of like 4 or 5 of us kind of pooling the accounts together and talking about it, so it definitely made it more bearable.
I understand. All right, well, Falcon, is it anything you want to direct people to? Your Twitch, Twitter, any social media, blogs, anything like that before I let you go?
Not really. I think most people know my Twitch. It's just IXI Falcon, all one word. So, if you haven't followed it, go ahead and give it a follow. I don't stream as much as I used to anymore because my playtime's more sporadic, but maybe I'll fire it up more often now and then.
All right. Well, if you guys want to catch Falcon and his team, they're once he drafts them, they're going to be playing on January 21st for the 3v3 January Jumpstart tournament hosted by Fizzy and sponsored by D Lockhart. Thank you for your time today.
Yeah, sure, Sunzel. Thank you.